Going to the movies might soon be a thing of the past. With streaming services like Netflix bringing movies right to you with ease, the movie industry has already been struggling. Now with the COVID-19 pandemic, they are really hurting and might not survive. In this video, we're going to look at two of the biggest movie theater chains, AMC and Regal Cinema. We are going to look at how they both got started and how they are faring in this new world of entertainment.
For the 718th time, we present Camaro versus Mustang.
Many of us rely on them to get around, and I always wonder, you probably do too, which one is better?
It's just one offensive in its battle with rival Pepsi for hearts and taste buds.
Before we begin, don't forget to like and subscribe to support the channel. AMC is the largest chain of movie theaters in the world. They have locations all over the globe and operate over 1,000 movie theaters. They are in 44 states in the US, and 52% of the population lives within 10 miles of one of their theaters. So if you're going to see a movie, it is most likely going to be at an AMC theater. Stanley Durwood is the man behind the brand, and it all started with his father, who owned a local movie theater in Kansas City. Stanley Durwood went to attend Harvard and fought in World War II, but then came back and jumped into the family theater business, called Durwood Theaters, which at the time expanded to 10 small theaters. After his father's passing in 1961, Stanley took over the business and renamed the chain to American Royal Cinema in 1968, and later changed that name again to America Multi Cinema, or AMC for short. Stanley ran the business like the military and began to apply military management to revolutionize the movie theater industry. Under its new name, AMC Theaters opened the two-screen Parkway Twin Theater in a shopping center in Kansas City in 1963. This was the company's first foray into using multiplex model. This changed the way the movie theater industry ran. Now you can show multiple movies at the same time in the same complex, instead of just showing one movie at the theater. This was a great way to get people into your theaters again, because you could go and see a different movie. The industry quickly embraced the multiplex concept. Additional screens also meant very little difference in staffing and operating costs, but resulted in a significant increase in profits. By the 1980s, the company was experiencing strong growth, and in 1983, it had an initial public offering which was priced at $13.50 a share. AMC Theaters built its first multiplex overseas in 1985. In 1995, AMC Theaters pioneered the first North American multiplex, a theater that could accommodate thousands. On December 13, 1996, AMC opened the Ontario Mills 30, a 30-screen theater in Ontario, which at the time was the largest multiplex complex in the world. AMC's strategy of building bigger and bigger theaters was working. With the movies becoming popularized and easily accessible for people, the movie theater became the place for entertainment, and AMC was capitalizing on this. Stanley Durwood died in 1999, and his successor, Peter Brown, who was the first non-Durwood family member to head the company. AMC also grew rapidly through acquisitions. In 2002, AMC bought General Cinema Corporation, which added 66 theaters with 621 screens to the company's assets. In 2006, AMC merged with Loews Cineplex Entertainment to form AMC Entertainment. The deal brought into AMC's fold the entire Loews and America's Cineplex chain. In 2016, they made one of their biggest acquisitions, which was the Carmex Cinemas, which they paid $1.1 billion for. After this acquisition, they became the largest movie theater chain in the US, overtaking Regal. After this, AMC traded hands a couple of times. It was first bought by the Apollo Group Management in 2004, which made the company private again. However, they had another IPO in 2007, which valued the company at $450 million. In 2012, they were acquired by the Wadden Group, which was a Chinese conglomerate. The Wadden Group paid $2.6 billion for AMC. The acquisition made the Wadden Group the world's largest cinema chain, and the CEO of the Wadden Group announced that the company would plan to spend $500 million renovating AMC locations, which they did. Now if you go into an AMC, they have lounge chairs that go back, and you can now reserve your seats ahead of time. Regal Cinema started much later than AMC did. In 1989 in Knoxville, Tennessee, Mike Campbell started opening up theaters in suburban areas. He branded the theaters as a more upscale experience compared to AMC and other traditional theaters. Regal theaters at the time even had a cafe in them, where people could hang out and talk about movies. Regal began expanding rapidly and has started acquiring other smaller chains and building new modern multiplexes. One of their largest acquisitions at the time was Act 3 Theaters, which had 124 multiplexes throughout the Texas and Oregon region. However, with such fast expansion, Regal found themselves in over their head and actually filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy in 2001. Saving it from bankruptcy, Regal merged with Edwards and United Artists chains, which were both smaller companies. This formed a new company, but they kept the name Regal. This merger brought a lot of debt to the Regal Cinema name, and it was only 1 year later that the new merged company went into bankruptcy again. This time, investor and entrepreneur Philip Onsters, who owns a variety of companies in many industries, including A&G Live, who owns Trocala Music Festival, and he also owns Los Angeles Kings NHL team, and is part owner of the LA Lakers. He bought a substantial part of the company, and he started to consolidate the company down into a new parent company called Regal Entertainment Group. As Regal consolidated the three chains, they began to work on a new digital distribution system to provide a new pre-show, replacing the slides and film advertisements with digital content. NBC and Turner Broadcasting were among the first to sign on to provide content for the venture, and the pre-show, this pre-film pre-show, is known as Regal First Look. Regal also continued to acquire smaller chains and improve the movie-going experience. In April 2010, Regal launched Regal Premiere Experience, an upgraded theater format. Each one of these theaters featured a 60-foot screen, plus reclining leather chairs. In 2017, Regal was acquired by Cineworld, a UK-based theater chain, for $3.6 billion, and this made the world's second largest cinema group in the world behind AMC. Both AMC and Regal changed hands many times and grew by acquiring other local theaters. They both also pushed the theater and movie business and changed the way we go to see movies, with different reward programs and inventions and adaptations of the multiplex, and having a more comfortable theater experience with lounge chairs. AMC, however, really did start from a more humble beginning and was run by the Durwood family for years. However, both are struggling now as lockdowns have really hurt them. In March, Regal Cinemas closed all 143 of its theaters in the United States indefinitely due to the pandemic, becoming the first theater chain in the US to close all its theater locations as a result of the lockdowns. They started to open back up in August, but most recently they had shut down all their theaters again, and this time it might be for good. AMC, on the other hand, is still hanging on and is starting to reopen some locations. However, management has doubts that they will be able to survive. What is also hurting them is the big blockbuster movies are now being released on streaming services. Mulan, one of Disney's biggest movies of the year, was planned to be released in theaters, but instead was forced to be released on their streaming service, Disney+. Other big movies are being delayed, as well as Mission Impossible was announced that it was not going to be released until 2021. So even if theaters actually open back up, there isn't going to be movies for people to go and see. Also, I think people are getting used to watching movies at home. And now with big blockbuster movies getting released straight to streaming, I don't think I see a future where big movie chains exist. There might be a push back to small local theaters that have movies that you might not find anywhere else. But the day of going to a theater to see a big blockbuster might just be behind us. And with that being said, as always, thanks for watching, and don't forget to like and subscribe to see more videos.